Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do another energy reading, and I originally was going to tune into anybody who's going through a breakup because that has been a really common theme right now, but right before this I got off of a call with my business doula integrator, and we were talking about disruption and how she was saying that word keeps coming up for her. That word keeps coming up for me. I keep pulling that card and the guides were like, ding, ding, ding. Disruption. That's the energy right now. So I want to go further into this. How is that showing up in your life? What do we need to know? And just trust that if you clicked on this video, if you're watching it, then there's a message in here for you right now. And if you're new, the way this works is I am just consciously channeling what's coming through from the guides. I've already cleared the space, called everybody in. And so I'm just going to basically repeat what I'm hearing and then share what I'm seeing. And then I pull cards and, we go from there. All kinds of fun stuff. So the energy of disruption. So they're saying a lot of people are feeling that right now, whether you're being pushed into it, having one of those tower moments, or you're either being pushed into it or called to really shake things up. So the whole energy is really, it's making a pivot. It's a big turn. I mean, coming off of the solstice energy, there's a lot of, I need to really clear the slate, start over. There's just like a big pivot energy. And for some people, that's going to be a choice. For other people, it's going to be like, I feel like everything is falling apart. I'm totally cracked open. It's a tower moment. Everything is being rearranged. And I feel like, whichever way that's coming up for you, they're saying different ways this might be coming up. This could be through the breakups. This could be through somebody coming into your life and disrupting everything. This could be a session you had with somebody where it totally flipped your world on its head. This could be a conversation you've had with somebody. It could be somebody walking into your life who you're like, holy shit, this could be the love of my life, or it's just a very significant relationship. There is a lot of like spiritual awakening. So you might be in the phases of, oh my God, my whole paradigm is shifting, or there's a lot more here. A lot of your intuitive gifts are starting to turn on. You're realizing, well, there's more than meets the eye. Like there's going to be some type of energy of disruption or a sudden move or like sudden news or showing like big news is coming. Like something is shifting the energy. And I think you're also feeling, I don't know, I need to change everything. I need to release a lot of things. A lot of times we feel this need to release and create space so that the new stuff can come in. But I feel like what they're saying is a lot of people are just in resistance to it. They're in resistance to the shifting. And it really is, I mean, we know it's like, it's for our highest and best. Easier said than done when you're in the middle of it, right? But you have to trust that it's leading you to something greater. And what they're saying is this is really an opportunity to just approach it with curiosity and also honor how you're really feeling. So you're being pushed to feel your feels in a deeper way. And this is going to actually shift your relationship with feelings and emotions. And I mean, this is making sense, right? Here we are in Cancer season. So beautiful. And there is this energy of like, are you feeling your feels? Your feelings, your emotions are giving you really important intuitive information. I feel that there's stuff underneath because you haven't been taking the time to feel your feelings and you've just been kind of like, I don't know. I just feel like you're staying on the surface with them. Even when we think we're feeling our feelings, this comes up a lot with people. I'm like, can we go deeper? Like, what's really underneath that? Like, just let it out. A lot of us have created these different walls and masks, and we don't actually let ourselves go fully into it, right? You're like, I'm mad. How fucking mad are you, right? It's like, just like let it out. And so a lot of us really need to re-explore, like, what is our relationship with emotion and feeling, and where have I shut that off, and where is that, just a safety mechanism. This is about opening up your heart space. This is about allowing yourself to get cracked open and to really see what's not working. And so for some of you, this is going to show up as, they're saying tough realizations. Like what's coming through a lot is, oh, that relationship is not what I thought it was. Or it's this feeling of this thing that I thought I wanted. It's not what it was made out to be. So maybe it's something within your career where you built this thing or you've been stepping into this and you have what you want and you're like, this isn't making me feel the way I want to feel. Oh shit. Or it is realizing with certain dynamics, like this friendship, this romantic relationship, this is not what I thought it was. And I feel like there's been some trigger. So this could be somebody delivering the news of how they're really feeling, or there's been something going on behind the scenes that you weren't expecting. This could also be like it's like somebody comes into your life and shows you a different example of what could be, and that shakes you up. It's that moment of having a really beautiful, deep conversation with somebody and realizing, holy shit, I actually feel seen, heard, and loved. I actually feel like this person is on my wavelength. And suddenly it's putting the rest of your relationships in context, and you're like, oh my God, there's such a stark comparison. And I think a lot of people are feeling that really intensely right now, but it feels like you've been in this in between with it for many of you, and particularly around relationships and with spiritual gifts. It's like, okay, I know this exists and I like this, and I'm like dipping my toe in over there, but I'm also trying to hang on to this stuff over here. I'm trying to hang on to my old friendships, my old relationships, my old patterns. And it's like, I really want the best of both worlds. And what they're saying is, in this context, guess what? You can't have it. It's like, pick a lane, pick 3D or 5D, pick high frequency or average, pick settling, or pick extraordinary. They're brutal, but that's what they're saying. I saw this, I forget who it was from, but I saw this post yesterday that I wanted to share, but I didn't because it was a 1 second long reel, which makes it impossible to share anything. Anyway, but I loved it. And it was basically like the message, because they're showing it to me, so I'm explaining to it. The message was, creating an extraordinary high frequency life is, they called it unbeautiful. It's like you have to be willing to disappoint people. You have to be willing for other people to not like you. You have to be willing to make other people upset. You have to be willing to prioritize the things that other people don't want you to prioritize. You have to be willing to, do the things that go against the grain and maybe upset people, to create a life that other people aren't willing to have. That was it. It was like, you have to be willing to do the things that other people aren't willing to do to have a life that other people aren't creating. And that's really like that moment that a lot of people are facing right now of like, holy shit, I'm really recognizing where I had a shaky foundation. Holy shit, I really realized where I was settling, or where I wasn't listening to myself, where I was betraying myself, or where I wasn't communicating clearly, or where there was all of this stuff. Like, it just feels like all of these illusions or secrets, or this person wasn't being clear with me, or like, this has just been not what I thought it was for so long. It's that kind of, oh my God, I thought this was so great, and now I'm realizing all of these other things around it. Like that is a tough pill to swallow. And so that's like what the tower moment is like, or the crumbling, or the coming undone, and where the disruption is actually your way out. It's like, what are the patterns that need to be disrupted? This is a huge thing that I've been talking about a lot recently, just like in the context of my own life, and looking at my patterns and looking at it and being like, I'm so in the routine with this and it's not serving me, and I need a hard disruption. Like, I need a hard pivot. I need a hard take time off and then come back into things from a totally different energy. And so what's starting to be really revealed through things breaking down and not working is where we're like stuck in these patterns. It's like anything in your life, we're like, I just can't stop. I don't know. I keep doing that. I keep word vomiting. I keep just saying that thing. I keep self-sabotaging this way. And it's like, at a certain point, you have to just stop the brakes and evaluate what's going on, realize what's not working, and then completely disrupt the energy. And so we're realizing what was really at the root in terms of foundational frequency of what we were building. And it's a lot of like the illusions shattered, right? And so, I mean, what else around? Why is this happening right now? Because there's a big upgrade. It's like all of the things you've been manifesting in and what you really want in terms of how you want to feel in your life. The things that you're holding on to right now, it's like you have all these energy cords to things that are keeping you at this frequency. And so when you're asking for a higher frequency in terms of your life, I mean, those cords are going to get cut. And if you ask the universe, you said, this is what I really want. I want this type of divine love. I want to feel seen, heard, and loved. I want to feel appreciated. I want, whatever you've been wanting. And the universe is like, okay, yes. And guess what? This stuff that your ego wants to hang on to, it's not a vibrational match. Right? And so there's going to be a moment, like a lot of people are going to be pushed to that crumbling and realization. And these are the areas where we can actually learn from. But for a lot of you, there's this, like, it's this choice thing. It's like, what are you going to choose when it's all right in front of your face, when it's obvious to you of like, look, these friends are different frequency, or I just met this person who maybe scares the shit out of me, because I can feel the expansion there, what's possible. I can feel the love, I can feel the expansion, whatever. And am I going to choose to like go into that and open up something new and different that could lead me to what I've always wanted? Or am I going to choose to go back to what's familiar? Because what we are really facing and looking at is where we're just really comfortable with what's familiar, and that's why we never change anything. And so we told ourselves it was fine, it was all right, it was working because it was familiar, so it was easier. And now it's like, look, it's glaring obvious in your face what's different, and are you going to choose what's different and new so that you can create something even better in your life? Or are you going to still choose the old stuff because you're scared? Like, pick. It's right in front of you. What do you want to decide? Right? And so, I mean, that's very confronting. But they just keep saying there's freedom in the disruption. There's freedom in, like, I need to shake up the entire energy. And I think, honestly, and I feel like a lot of this has to do with personality as well, but I know for me at least, it is much easier for me to like shake everything up than it is to try just one thing. And this is an energetic technique. So whenever people are trying to create new patterns or even just get new information, get more creative, something that's really helpful that I always suggest and I do myself is how can I just add more of the energy of newness to my life? And so the more I just shake things up overall, it becomes easier to just kind of slip in new ways of being or new ways of seeing things because I'm already in this energy of new, of different, of shaking things up. And so that can be little things like a really simple one I always do is I always go on a morning walk. And so I'm always just walking in random directions. I don't do the same loop or the same walk every single day, even just going the opposite direction. So I'm switching it up every single day, listening to different music, doing morning or evening routines in a different order. You know, maybe you always take calls on Wednesdays, or you always take calls, or you always answer emails, or your admin day is another day. And could you change those days? Could you be like, you know what? This week, I'm moving my admin day to a different day, or I'm doing, all my calls in another day. So, I mean, that's just dependent on your lifestyle and what you do. But like all of these little areas, even like, I always drink coffee in the morning. Maybe you switch to matcha. Just start changing a bunch of random stuff. Maybe you switch up your workout routine this week as well. You just do a different type of workout. And when you're already changing all of these other random things, it becomes a lot easier to just add something else in and shift a habit or shift a way of thinking. But it's going to take first, like I'm stopping, I'm pausing, I'm seeing what's not working. And then I'm going to figure out like what would be the opposite way of doing things. Like what would it actually look like for me to move forward from the energy that I want to build more of in my life. And there you go. Okay. So what else are we getting around this? Schedule yourself in. Recall your dreams. And open the door. This is you opening the door for yourself. Recalling your, I mean, man, I have had a lot of intense dreams lately. So I would think about what's been coming up in the dream space, and also a lot of like, I mean, because that's showing a lot of our subconscious and the energies, the dynamics that maybe we're not ready to consciously see, but they're, if you're not listening, the guides are going to speak to you one way or the other. So that could be through your dreams. That could also be through other people, right? So if we're not taking the time to stop and listen and tune in and meditate and hear what our higher self or our spirit guides are saying, and the message needs to come through, it's gonna come through. So it's either gonna be in dreams, or it could be through conversations with other people, or signs and synchronicities. I have a podcast about working with signs and synchronicities. A lot of people like just don't pay attention, but you can also ask for signs, right? You can use Spotify, or open a book, use oracle cards, whatever it is. So those are going to be different ways, but like if you need to get the message, it's going to come through. If you keep hearing from different people the same thing, listen. That's spirit speaking through them. Also, like your dreams in terms of how do you want to feel? What's the life you wanted to create? Like deep down in your soul, what is it that you desire? And I feel like this is so connected to love, because it's in everything, right? Like why do we do anything? At its core, it comes back to love, which is really our connection to source itself. And I feel that you are being given an opportunity to really reconnect with love, with source in a very deep way. And it's almost so big and overwhelming that it's like, am I going to run away from this? And so that could be through a new relationship coming in. That could be through an entire pivot in your business, like, or your career. It's like, it's these states of huge disruption where everything's getting shaken down, because it's like you're actually meant for something so much bigger. And if you kept going, if you kept, you know what it's like outgrowing a house. It's like maybe you are in a 2-bedroom house for a while, and at a certain point you have so much stuff, and maybe you have kids, and you're like, we just can't fit here anymore. We need to upgrade. And there's nothing that, maybe you're not allowed to build on it. There's no building permit, or there's no extra land. And there's just nothing you can do. And so the only option is we got to move out. We're going to get rid of stuff, and like we got to change the decor because the old stuff doesn't match the old house, or doesn't match the new house, right? It's like that kind of energy. Like you've outgrown the reality that you're currently in. And so it's going to break apart. And everything that's not aligned with where you're going is going to be revealed, and it's going to come to the surface. But you have to take this time to like let yourself be in it, right? So scheduling yourself in silence, sitting, thinking. Stop going to other people for their opinion who are connected to the old reality or connected to the old way of thinking, because they are just going to reinforce the limiting beliefs or the previous way of thinking. They're just going to project their own fears onto you or their own desires. And I feel like there's an expander that's come into your life. I feel like there's somebody that you keep thinking about, and this could be somebody you met. This could be, somebody that you found on YouTube or Instagram or a book, or it's just, I feel like somebody came in and shook things up, and you're curious. And like, I would go into that. There's like, just keep letting your intuition guide you, ask questions, get curious. Wow. Oh my God. Okay. So we have the restriction card, which is about like, you can't do anything to get out of this. Like, you need to just surrender to the situation. Like where you're at right now, this is what I just talked about. Like you've outgrown the house. You can't move forward from here. So you're going to have to pivot to go a different direction. Like, I'm in the room and there's nowhere else to go. I got to leave the room and go back into the hallway and find the door that has the other door, right? So that's a restriction card. We have the trust. You have, like, this is trusting that this is for your highest and best, that redirection is protection, right? And I feel like there's a lot of, there's a lot of sadness. There's a lot of closure. There's a lot of hurt when you've recognized what's gone on, hurt even within yourself of why didn't I trust myself, or why didn't I see this before? Like self-blame and judgment. And this is about like love. Like this is actually the pathway to connecting to deeper love for yourself, like rebuilding this relationship with yourself, but also with other people. Like, I mean, these are hard moments. This is like one of the hardest bits about a spiritual awakening, is recognizing all of the illusions in your life, and also recognizing all of the things in your reality that just aren't serving you anymore, and how many relationships are not supporting you in your expansion. How many relationships are actually keeping you limited in your growth. And this is the thing. There also doesn't have to be anything wrong for the relationship to not be serving you anymore, right? And it also, shifting your reality doesn't have to mean I'm cutting everybody off, but it can just mean, where am I focusing more of my attention on right now? It doesn't mean you need to be like, hey, all you 20 people, I can't talk to you anymore. It doesn't have to be like that. It's just like, what if you started directing more of your focus and energy and attention toward activities and people, yourself, like things that are making you feel expanded and good. And I feel like you've tasted that. I feel like you've gotten a taste through conversations or podcasts or a book where you're like, this is something different. I feel like it's like tasting it. It's like, that's what I've been looking for. I want more of that. So go into more of that. Go into more of that. And you're starting to realize like, holy shit, there's this reality I want to create for myself, and I can feel it, I can taste it, I can see it. But then there's this gap, and like, you're not showing up as that version of yourself yet. And it's feeling hard to kind of just shift the whole thing. So that's where it's like hard disruption. And if you don't choose it, then the universe might choose it for you, and it's going to be a lot less comfortable. But a lot of people are breaking up right now in romantic relationships, in friendships, with career-related things, changing niches, realizing I want to do my career, my business in a completely different way. It's like this whole disruptive energy. It's a breakup energy because it's actually creating the space or realigning you with the path of love. And so a lot of new relationships are going to be coming in pretty quickly. I feel that if you're manifesting a romantic partner, they're right there. And that they're saying it's going to require you getting out of your ego. And you have to recognize it's not going to feel familiar. Like, this is, are you brave enough to jump into the unknown? If the unknown is the sea of everything you've ever wanted, right? Because if you keep going into what's been familiar, well, it hasn't gotten you what you really want, right? It's like, I always feel this slight disconnect. Like, there's always just like, it's this aftertaste. It's this thing underneath of like, why do I still want more, right? Why am I still hungry for more? Because I haven't quite hit the frequency yet. So I mean, being open to dating a different type of person, right? Typically when you meet the person, like it's a disruptive energy. You don't always like them at first, right? Or it's like so soul connection so fast, like it feels like an explosion of like, holy shit, we're in this, right? This is also true for friendships. I feel that when you go into the tower moment, when you do the release, when you like really go into the disruptive energy, a whole group of really aligned friends are right on the other side. Like this is all waiting for you. I feel like money's waiting for you with your business. The energy is like, it's like, do you want divine love? If you do, then go into the disruption, choose the disruption, and actually like, I always think about it like this. It's like, if I'm going to be pushed there, if I'm going to have to do this thing, like, I'm going to choose to cannonball in rather than get pushed into the pool. Like, I might as well have fun with it. I might as well just like, pull out some, I don't know, Scorpio, Aries energy and just be like, I'm just going to disrupt the hell out of this and have fun doing it, right? And just own it and go into it and like play with it. And that's where the alchemy is. And this is where like when you have that boldness and that bravery through the other side, which might require you like, I think you're going to have to hit some lows. Like you're going to have to hit that point where you feel so tender and broken and cracked open, but it's like right there when the emotion comes up, that's where the truth is too. The truth is right underneath those emotions and those feelings. Right? So this is about you really allowing yourself to recognize the truth of how you feel, of what you want, of that maybe like the path to what you really want was something that your ego didn't really want to admit. Maybe it feels like, oh my God, I don't want to start all over. Oh my God, that's actually so scary. Like, it's like, I want this and what I have right now isn't it, but I want to keep making this work because I want that to be it. And it's like, drop the ego and just, you're going to have to go in another direction, right? But the process of getting there is like moving through the emotions and feeling the feels so we can actually get to the root of our truth and what we've already known all along, right? And really getting to what's underneath of like, where do I need to learn to trust myself again? Where do I get to learn to love myself again? Where do I get to forgive myself? Like, how do I get to really rebuild this relationship with myself? Because in doing that, that's where you are connected with divine love. That is where you are connected with the divine. And that is the place from which you attract in more divine love into your life. Aligned relationships, romantic friendships, business opportunities. It really is, just saw 2222, all connected to divine love. So this is lean into the disruption. Lean into the disruption. And I know, like, if you're going through breakup energy, right? Give yourself some grace and give yourself some time off. Schedule yourself in. Ask yourself, what do I really need? Not from my head. And it's like not from my head, from my heart space. Do I just need a day off for myself? Do I need to just turn my phone on airplane mode for a week? Do I need to go on a trip? Do I need a spa day? Is there somebody who keeps popping on my mind who actually would support me in the newer energy that I'm ready to step into, that like maybe it's time for me to ask for support? Because for some people, the edges, the expansion point is going to be from that raw emotional space, like reaching out to somebody where they do feel safe and being like, hey, I need support right now. Can you hold some space? Like that can be the growth point as well. So, disruption. We love it. We love it, but I know it's not always comfortable. It's actually often super painful. Super painful. But this is how we often get to quantum leaps. Ride the wave, hit the truth, and the truth is love. Truth is love. So that's what I have for you today. Leave a comment below if this resonates. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up button if it does as well. And if you think this would support somebody in your life, then send them the link. And I'm just like sending you so much love, giving you a big, big hug through the screen. Because if you're feeling the feels, if you're feeling scared, if you're feeling nervous, if you're feeling cracked open and raw, it's just, I'm just sending you all the healing vibes. Hang in there. This is about like, how much can you trust yourself and trust the universe and trust that this is, part of the process of making some really big quantum leaps. And they want you to know that this is where it's leading. Trust and love. but staying where you're at wouldn't be comfortable either. All right, that's what I have for you. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any future videos. So grateful for you, sending you lots of love, and I will see you very soon.